Hi everyone, welcome to day 14 of our Inktober 2024 Beginner Tangles Challenge. I'm Yehudit Steinberg. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, and today we're exploring two closely related tangles called Pokeroot and Pokeleaf. These organic tangles are inspired by a plant that grows in New England, combining straight and curvy lines to create lively, natural forms. Pokeleaf is a close relative to pokeroot, and both offer many creative options. Let's begin by gathering our supplies. I'm using very basic supplies today, and I start with a Micron 01 and a Micron PN plastic nib. I have a 2B for my shading, and I have a small tortillon for blending. I'm using a 2-inch bijou tile from Zentangle.com. You can use either this, or you can um, there was a suggestion in our last video by one of our students where she bought these Strathmore artist tile, and it's a Bristol vellum paper. It's great. I use it a lot. And she cut it up into a number of different 2-inch pieces. This is 6 by 6, and it's a relatively inexpensive way to get your 2-inch tiles. Today's tangles are Pokeroot and Pokeleaf. Both of these tangles have a playful, organic feel and are great for adding texture to your drawings. Pokeroot begins with a stem and a bulb shape, while Pokeleaf extends into a leaf-like form. You can use them individually or combine them for a layered look. Now, here's the step out for Pokeroot, and then I will give you and take a screenshot. And then here is Pokeleaf. Take another screenshot. Today, we are going to be drawing on our 2-inch bijou. We'll draw a combination of both. Using the Zentangle method, we start by taking a moment to get centered. And the way we do that is to put our feet flat on the floor, sit up straight, and take a couple of deep breaths. Now, think of something you're grateful for today. Let that feeling just ground you as we prepare to draw. Stretch your hands. Do a little finger yoga and get them moving and ready, loosening them up and ready to draw. So I'm going to start with my 01 micron, and I'm going to start with step 1. Okay, let's start with the Zentangle method with the dots in the corner. And let's create a little border. And now we're going to move to step 1. I pick up my Micron 01, and I'm going to give it a stem. And then I will lay a C curve on top of that stem and then connect it back to the stem. you can add a little ink here. And the first one that we are drawing is Pokeroot. So it comes up and down. So it is round, whereas the poke leaf has more of a leaf shape. So let's draw another poke root, and it can be, you can put it anywhere. I come back, give it a little darkness. And now we use a little drawing behind too. So I'm going to come down here where I would draw my top here, and I draw in the air, put my pen down, come back around. That's our second poke root. Now let's try poke leaf. So we're going to create our stem, put a little C, a little curvy line on top, bring it back to that stem, give it a little bit of ink. And now instead of this round, like a mushroom top, we're going to give it more of an S shape. And it turns out to be more like a leaf looking pattern here. I'm going to bring it up again. Stick this behind it. They look really interesting when you can tuck them behind. Give it a little depth. I'm going to come off over here. Maybe a little poke root. And where I need to draw behind, I do. We'll stick a little poke root under this guy. And maybe we'll come over here and create another poke leaf. Draw it behind. And now we've drawn the basic poke root, poke leaf. And what oftentimes happens as filler in the background is we use these little orbs we call tipple. So let's put some of that in here before we shade. If you have any little spaces there, you could give it a little ink to add variety and interest up here where you kind of, I came in and added ink here. And we'll add some tipple down here. And you can vary the size of these orbs if you like. And I invite you to be creative. How you fill it in, you can fill them in. Well, in this little space here, it's a little space, so it'll give it some dimension. I'm going to give this a little bit of inking. Okay, so we have drawn poke root and poke leaf. Now we're going to shade. And I'm not going to do a lot of shading, but if we come around on the sides here, and shading is done in layers, so I invite you to use a light touch first before you get too much of shading, but this just gives it a little bit of rounding. Little bit of dimension. Now, another thing you can do, which I like to do, is to come in where these tipples are, and you can shade in there. So I'm going to add a little more graphite here. Not too much, because I don't want to get too much going there, but just darken it. And what it does is it helps to bring out your poke root and leaf that you just drew by giving this a shadow. It puts it into the background. So now you've done poke root, poke leaf. The next step is to sign. So we have our initials or a chop on the front. We turn it over and we write out our journal, any notes you have on what you did today. We want to make sure that we put Inktober and the year 2024. The day is 14. The tangle is poke root and poke leaf. These were deconstructed by Zentangle, which most of our 31 days are. I think there's only 3 that aren't. These are all beginner tangles. And I sign my name and the actual date, which is 10 14 2024. Turn it back over. And there you have it. So we've done the shading. So your next step is finally share your completed tangle in our Facebook group. Look for today's tangle post and add a picture of your drawing along with any comments or questions. I'd love to see how your poke root and poke leaf turned out. Before we wrap up, just a quick reminder, it's not too late to join our Sunday Mandala Challenge. You'll receive all the information, the Sunday Zoom sessions. We have 5, we've had 2. So those are the recordings that are available for you, and support to create your unique mandala. The registration link is in the comments or description below. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you found this time relaxing and inspiring. I'll see you tomorrow for another mindful drawing session. Until then, remember, one stroke at a time. Bye for now.